Oh, what is up guys, Bobby7 King here, back again with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about who is most likely to win the comeback challenge in this venture camp. And obviously there was a trailer announced, however I kind of suck at sleuthing, and all I can really tell you is that it looks like Ted and Amelie do well, so there's that. It kind of affects the rankings a little bit. We'll be ranking the 10 people from least likely to come back to most likely to come back. So yeah, let's just get started. And in Dead last year, at number 10, we have someone who already had a chance to come back into the game, and that is Linda. Obviously, if I was ranking this based on who I wanted to see come back the most, Linda would be number 1, and it wouldn't even be close. I would love to see her interact with Anastasia at the merch, Spencer, Isabel, Natalia, Richard, Logan, pretty much nearly everyone except for really, I guess, Zayd, but even then, it looks like she could have had a crush on Zayd, like a little one, just a tiny bit. But yeah, I don't think Linda is going to win the comeback challenge. In the trailer, I mean, I'm not really even going to be talking about the trailer, to be honest, but it just feels like she already had her chance to come back, and it feels like her run as like the pre-merge antagonist is kind of over, so yeah. At number 9, we have Linda's pretty much her only friend and the most recently eliminated contestant, and that is Richard. And even though I do think Richard is probably the best physical competitor out of all these 10 people, I just feel like there's no way in hell he's going to come back narratively, because what purpose does he really have for the story at this point? It just feels like Richard is kind of dead weight at this point, and I feel like he'll probably end up losing on the bounce beam, because it seems like it's giving everyone a hard time, so maybe he loses by that, but yeah, Richard has no chance, in my opinion, to return. At number 8 here, we do have someone who I would love to see return. I just don't think it's going to happen, and that's Tristan. Even though Tristan does have a strong partner in Zayd and can actually hold their own in challenges, I just feel like, once again, similar to Test and All-Stars, I just feel like Tristan doesn't really care if they come back into the game. Obviously, they want to win the game. I just feel like other contestants want it more, and that's why we won't see Tristan win. Plus, without Benji in the game, I really don't know what Tristan could do. I mean, obviously, they could work with Zayd, but it's like, I mean, Benji's just a more entertaining character than Zayd, so yeah. At number 7, we're moving on from Zayd's child to his wife, and that is Ivy. And obviously, I do know that Ivy is paired up with Anastasia, another strong competitor, and obviously, I believe Ivy will probably love this, so there's that. Again, I feel like my top 3 is pretty solidified, and it just is a matter of who falls between who, really, and Ivy just falls here at number 7. Plus, I believe there's a potential that Anastasia could just sabotage Ivy to get Marissa back into the game, but yeah. Just mentioning off Marissa, we do have Marissa next at number 6, and obviously I do believe Marissa will have a big episode. I just don't feel like she will return. I feel like this episode will probably just be the conclusion between the Marissa Anastasia storyline, and I feel like once we get that, then Marissa is kind of done here, so she's here at number 6. Number 5, similarly to Marissa, I do feel like this character will have big character moments this episode. I just don't feel like this character will win the challenge, just because, again, he kind of sucks at challenges. And that is Benji, who, again, does Benji beat literally anyone here in a challenge? Probably not. I feel like there is very few challenges I could imagine Benji winning against literally anyone here, and that's why I have Benji here at number 5. At number 4 here, again, all the top 4 here were, I believe, the first 4 eliminated, which I find very funny, but at number 4 here we do have the first boot in Alessio. I do think Alessio will try really hard to win the comeback challenge, but again, I feel like my top 2 are just very solidified, and I feel like since Amelie does well in the challenge, that just bumped Alessio down here. Even though I do think him and Natalia will definitely have an interesting dynamic. Moving on to number 3, kind of already spoiled it, and that is Amelie. And this is mainly just because Amelie looks like she did well in the challenge. If she doesn't, then she would probably be around the Marissa, Benji, Ivy spots of the list. But again, I wouldn't be mad at an Amelie return. I feel like she's hot, so she can't be that bad, right? So yeah, Amelie's here at number 3. And we might as well talk about the 2 people I believe to be returning, and that is Ted and Diego. And for Diego, I feel like this makes a lot of sense. Again, he has the Spencer storyline, the Logan potential storyline, Jade, and I feel like Diego could fit very well into the merge cast and actually be a pretty strong player. And now moving on to Ted, who I feel like is a villainous player, someone who will play strategically, not always well, but definitely someone who is very potent in the game. And even though I don't personally care about this, I guess it also brings up the gender ratio to make it 5-5, so yeah. All I really have to say in terms of who I think will return, but I kind of want to shortly recap who I actually want to see return. And number 1 here, obviously Linda. I love Linda as a character. Again, she provides so much comedy, so much great villain moments of the show, and I feel like seeing her and Anastasia Final War wouldn't be dragged out. It would actually be really fun to watch, so Linda for sure. I would also love to see Ted come back just because Ted kind of reminds me of King George. And again, I'm perfectly fine with King George dominating the screen time on any season, and the same would go to Ted. And I know this might be controversial, but I would actually love a Diego return. Again, I find Diego to be really rootable, and I personally really like his character. I like his likability, and honestly, I don't know, something about Diego just draws me to him. I just really like Diego as a character. And I know a lot of people dislike Diego, and some people on Twitter even call him a predator, which, again, I think is kind of insane to, like, throw out, just because, again, predator is kind of a strong word, and also I don't feel like Diego was, like, being predatory towards Spencer. Again, a little weird, sure, but I don't think it crossed, like, the Sierra boundary. And also, I feel like the Diego hate in general is just something that I just don't really understand. Again, you can dislike the storyline between Diego and Spencer, but I feel like Diego is a perfectly fine character on its own, to where, again, I feel like it shouldn't really cloud your judgment here. I don't know, for me personally, I feel like the Diego hate just kind of crossed the icky boundary, kind of similarly to Nichelle in my opinion, to where it's like, again, I feel like people who hate on Nichelle a bit too much are a little bit weird, and I think the same thing for people who hate on Diego, so yeah, there's that. Those are my thoughts on the comeback, people, and honestly, I'm very excited for this episode tomorrow. I'm recording this on Thursday, and I'm posting this on Friday, so yeah, there's that. And honestly, yeah, that's all I really have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Expect 2 big videos coming out this weekend, so yeah, stay tuned for that, and yeah, peace out. Love you guys.